Hi guys, I'm Brittany and welcome back to my sewing channel. Today I'm going to be addressing what is a toile. And a toile is essentially a mock-up or like a practice garment before you go and cut the good fabric with your pattern. When you're making a toile, you can go and make adjustments to the pattern to see if there's anything you'd like to change or alter so it custom fits your body. This is my toile for the Luana dress that I'm making by VikiSews. As you can tell, it is very rough. There is no finished seam on this dress. Inside, completely unfinished. I'm not giving it a hem. It's kind of poorly sewn. Now, if this was like a custom bridal gown or something like that, I would take my time and make the toile look perfect before cutting into my expensive fabric. But as you can see, I very quickly threw it together at the seams just to get a basic fit idea. Because the fabric, while I love it, I'm also not using crazy expensive fabric. But in this video, I'll be showing you the adjustments I made to my toile to get it to fit better. And yeah, so this will be part one of the video. I will be completing this dress in the good fabric. And I'll probably make it like a 3-part series. So I'm definitely glad I did it. VikiSews, they sell their patterns, so you have to pick one size. You can't just get like a size range like the McCall's patterns. But even so, it's still one size, but everybody's body is still different. And I've had 2 kids, so my body is definitely fitting differently in clothing than it did prior. I'm wanting to really elevate my sewing techniques, so I'm hoping this dress will look perfect.
So I was on the fence, but I decided to make the toile, and I'm so glad I did. I pinned it, I put all the pieces together. It was a very quick, simple layout for a shell of a dress. I did press my seams. I probably shouldn't have used steam, just because if you need to take it out and make adjustments, those lines still show on the outer garment. Here I wanted to show the difference between a not pressed seam and a pressed seam on the right side of the fabric. Now you do want to press it a bit so you can see how it lays. Here you can see that the shoulder straps are too long, so these I needed to shorten first. It was falling off and causing a lot of gaping in the top back. Now in the front, you can also tell there's a lot of tension lines in the overbust and the underbust. It wasn't too small in the stomach area or too tight fitting. However, it looked like it was because of that upper bust. So I decided to take in the straps. Here I am measuring the front and back strap. I took out 2 centimeters. And you want to make sure you do this to both sides. Never forget, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Now I did keep my seam allowance the same, so once I had this measured out and it was cut, I kept my seam allowance at 3/8 of an inch when I put it back together. All right, and here it is. Now the fit is already much more comfortable. It's not falling off the shoulders. It took care of the gaping in the back. Here I don't even have the zipper done up all the way. There's still some tension lines in the bust. So I did end up taking out the seam allowances a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch. And something to not forget is don't just change it to your toile. You also need to change it to your pattern pieces. So when you go to cut out your final fabric, it looks good and it's all put together. So here I am. I actually decided to do 1.5 centimeters off just because it was getting a little snug under the armpit and I didn't want to have to restructure and recut all of the fabric pieces around the armpit. So I just did 1.5 centimeters. I figured once the lining was on the inside and the boning, it would be enough to hold it in place and not make it too snug. Now this is also a little bit of a hack I did because I took out the seams in the dress to loosen it up a little bit in the bust area. Instead of going and putting this onto tracing paper, I just used a marker to show where on the pattern piece I'd like to cut a little bit of extra fabric out. Now I'm not a seamstress. This is definitely not a recommended technique. However, I'm just pattern hacking it. So this is what I'm doing.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make my mock-up of the Luana dress. If you're interested in more sewing tutorials, follow along for projects, or do-it-yourself basic beginner projects, I'd love for you to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.